Right, yo, YouTube. I'm here to explain to you what is quarantine. Now, quarantine, the definition is a filter, for society, like the Simpsons movie, like how entire political society was put in quarantine. All right, what that means is that that's a disease in the air. One thing, but second of all, for scientists, is to talk shit for the autistic kid, literally, to either arrest him or stop him from getting in a girl's pants. All right, and every single uncle, every single individual, every single person had quarantine. Literally, quarantine. Literally, you put your finger on the dad, this and that. Yeah, I'm telling you. What quarantine is, the health factor versus, how scientists can talk shit, is various, okay? Because how quarantine starts, lately, is an excuse that you make for the autistic kids that lingers on over time to a point where they become geniuses, where they escape their own shit, all right? Because even Coach Red Pill, a YouTuber I used to follow back in the day, all right? What Coach Red Pill would do is he would pause, he would explain quarantine, and he would agree with me, literally, but then he would lean towards society, all right? Because what quarantines are is to filter, people, this and that, and diseases. That's why literally in quarantine, people die. And quarantine is all after sexual assault. All after literally somebody goes, to a convention, literally. That's all fucking quarantine is, whether it's Alex, whether it's Adrian, literally. What quarantine is as a whole, literally, is you treating the autistic kid special, well, how he adapted was the word was made after him, all right? I'm done. All right, literally, and the reason why it's so important, okay, is because what quarantine allows you to do, it allows somebody to hide behind their social position and hold somebody to the same reputation long enough for them to get hit, and holds an autistic person to the same weight. All right, that's the definition of quarantine, literally, if you ask a normal person. But what it actually is, Mr. Young, you see how literally Mr. Terry was wearing that outfit, literally saying quarantine, and no, not like fucking Nicole, what she did to Charlie, literally, 4.5 friends, calling him special ed. Literally, real quarantine is is when somebody literally fights their way to their fucking uncle, literally, because people keep on making excuses. They're trying to make excuses. Don't put your dab on this. Literally, don't do this, and that, all right? So, what quarantine is, it's a long down, dragged out war for the autistic kid. And where it comes to MVPs back in the day, all right? Literally, they hear shit like, literally, you went through a whole bunch of transitioning, this and that. Literally, you forgot that it was a Japanese cartoon. That's one form of quarantine. You see how that keeps rolling? Literally, so, I figured out that you can't keep on doing that, all right? Literally, because that was a part of my quarantine. Because my quarantine, happened after I started, getting bitches, all right, at the convention, all right? Literally, and when things dragged on, and when people just wanted, forward me to mental health. Now, all this is fucking up. Literally, so what happened to me was I was left, my brother's generation and all the generations, literally, and now I have an excuse, okay? Because my quarantine was revolved around literally me, how I grew up in junior high, A and B is how I adapted, literally how I adapted to the whole society and how they kept it. And the key behind, my quarantine is the middle between me and Oren, all right? Literally how white people hide by shit. Like, I just had a moment right now in the gym, literally, where it comes to paper cut, I stomp on Lincoln Park, all right? So, first off, literally, this quarantine started, in 2010s, all right? All right? Technically 2010s, okay? Because when they started making awful music, when they started, making excuses for, our gag games like Crash Bandicoot, all right? That quarantine was based off, people jumping around the quality and hiding behind gangs, all right? So, that quarantine, officially started with Full Metal Alchemist, literally, that is different for each viewer, okay? Literally, because when I called Rob on the phone about Brotherhood, about watching the first episode, he admitted to me after talking to a scientist that that was the first episode. And it's true. And it's completely fucking true. Literally, that's what they did in society. That's why I kept from my mom. And that's the same with Jay and Georgia. Literally, the last season 3. All right. Literally, it's true. Literally, if every single person is watching something differently, it's displaying something differently, it's making sure, literally, you don't get away with socializing properly, and you get away with socializing in tongues. It's true. It's completely fucking true. I'm telling you, literally, that's a whole fucking filter that sets you up, and they do that. All right? But, set that aside, all right? Literally, that's for you not to call out shit. That's why you sing this shit in Kolioko. Literally, all that shit is from quarantine, all right? Now, let's get to my mom. First off, literally, my mom back in the day, the Mirage, was an actual reality, but it's really a mirage. which was when Steve tried to get in shape, when Steve tried to do crunches and sit-ups, literally, she wasn't dedicated to it. Literally, she wasn't doing this and that. Literally, she was still overweight. You know, I'm not gonna say obese because obese pissed her off. All right, pisses her off. I'm done. Anyway, fucking what she did was she tried to do crunches. She was struggling doing crunches. Then she didn't keep on doing 100, right? Literally, it's very important for you to recognize what quarantine is, okay? Literally, because what she did in the middle, literally, was she defended, people behind street carts and, socializing to the point where she became a pinnacle, all right? Literally, because people treat my mom and that like she is a shit. Literally, she's just as important as a black person as me. And, the truth of it, all right, is that, when quarantine drags on, literally, whole revelations happen, this and that. Literally, that's where you have the possibilities. I repeat, possibilities of, going back in time and remaking, events of history, all right? So, when it comes to me, right, they did so fucking much. Literally, for anime, literally, with AVs, literally, made sure people lived above me, but below me in terms of intellect in order to catch me, literally, for this and that, all right? Anyway, literally, so ignoring that I can do an accent, ignoring this and that, literally, and applying something was not a good idea, because what happened over time, literally, was I was able to call out, literally, when Tato was wearing a costume, or when Charlie was wearing a costume in quarantine, all right?
Wait.
It's true. Literally, it's true. Literally, what quarantine is, literally, it's a disease on fucking paper that gone out, but it's really a fucking excuse. Literally, quarantine can happen where gang members taking advantage of society. When, they're taking advantage of society, how everybody's hacking my channel, hacking every single channel. That's a part of quarantine, all right? Literally, this quarantine is for evil people, hiding behind my dealers, hiding behind, effects that aren't good, literally, that suit their cause, but not as people. Literally, and Aaron's still my boy, by the way. If you didn't know, literally, fucking, all that, Mandela, Fullmetal Alchemist shit, literally, he's still my boy, but that clan that he knows about with Crisis and shit, that one, literally, that talks to Adam in the sky, and literally breathes to it like a religion. That's also a part of quarantine, and it all happened over time. Literally, that's the worst part. Literally, when you're a soldier during quarantine, you can die. You can die for pills, you keep on going on. And when you keep on going on, literally, as being a dead corpse, literally, you can keep on gang stalking Eris, okay? Literally, so it doesn't matter if it's mine, doesn't. So quarantine can happen, not just to me, to any person at a time. So it can start off with me, but it can bitch off to other, people. Literally, and one of the many fucking examples, literally, and why I laughed, why I caught on quarantine, literally goes, you made sure you fucked the whole girl and made her get kicked out of school. Literally, when you got diagnosed at the doctor when you were 18, they said non-sexually active. Literally, get the fuck out of here. That's also part of quarantine. Her being able to hide behind her position. Literally, that's especially a part of quarantine, okay? Now, literally, the truth of it, all right? Literally, is when you make disposable humans, we make regulations, right? Those are all excuses for humans to stay in quarantine, all right? Literally, when does quarantine end? I don't know, but it fucking fluctuates, all right? Literally, because I went through a fucking, whole one and recognized one of my best friends that was back, CJ, Ghostology. He was there. I don't know by which timeline, but he was a Jonathan of the family. And what ends up happening is I didn't tell you this on the channel, but I end up abusing CJ. I don't know if it's in the first or second timeline, but he came there. The original reason why CJ came there was because of my abuse in school. Literally, so because he's prominent, I didn't think that happened literally the first time he came over, but when scientists kept on editing shit because I kept on not talking negative, that's probably what happened. But that's where he told me that he went through his own quarantine, like Eris. Literally, I've been through a whole quarantine. You know what that is? That's when you fight the uncle, this, and that. Literally, he kept on stirring eggs, all right? All right, so it wasn't, all right? So it's true. It's very fucking true. And that's why I ended up, being with Ali and shit. Him and Chris drove me to the side. It's like, what the fuck is this? We don't just fuck with you. This is a monster. What's wrong? Literally. And then Bobby's all like, Abomination has a cord. Literally, that's also a part of quarantine, but I'm just letting you know, literally, it's a filter to keep autistic people away from certain shit, but you can't fight it once on paper, so if you keep on going to between and not recognize the street sport, it's gonna keep happening. I'm just gonna keep on being casual, so I'm going, just tell you, I'm letting you know right now, literally fucking, it's June, it's already June, literally, it's getting to September, which is the fall, which is what I'm saying, we have to apply for Chabot, okay, so that's it, and that's my opinion of quarantine for this video.